Okay, welcome back. More Tim Cain reactions. This one is more thoughts on game marketing. Let's just jump in.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Tim.
Hi,
Today, I
Tim.
want to give more thoughts on game marketing.
Yeah.
And look, I exist in daytime. Thought I'd make a change. Now, I should point out I've already done a marketing video, which I'll link below. But recently, I was looking at it and I realized I did not follow my own rules on how to give constructive feedback,
Oh, yeah?
which I did in a video, which I'll also link below, where I said if you're going to give comments and critique on something, make it constructive, make it actionable. And I realized in that marketing video, when I talked about that I've worked with marketers that I liked and marketers I didn't like, I never really gave them constructive feedback. Now, nobody on the video who watched the video said, "Hey, Tim, you're not following your own rules." To which I would have responded like Bender from Futurama and said, "Shut up, baby, I know it." But instead, I've decided to give a set of suggestions to game marketing folks.
Okay.
You don't have to follow any of this. This is just stuff that game marketing people did that made me like working with those game marketing folks, and I thought resulted in really good ads and trailers for games I made.
One thing that I could say that I really enjoy is when game marketers tend to not just be doing their job. Like, they're not just told, oh, here's some footage, make it into a trailer, but they actually try to understand the product and understand what its focus is, what its pillars are. Because if, the pillars of Golden Chronicle is alchemy, but then they make a trailer that doesn't show any of the alchemy, even a little snippet, it's like, okay, well, you aren't understanding the game. You're just trying to find things that are quickly, sellable, but you're selling now the wrong game, or you're not appealing to the audience that I intended to appeal to by by wanting to showcase alchemy as a, this core focus of our game. So that would be one of my tips.
So I've got 6 different suggestions. I think I've got 6. I do.
Six.
I wrote them down so I remember them.
Smart.
The first one is probably the most important. This isn't necessarily a list that's in order, but I will say this first one is probably the most important. Marketing folks, play the game.
Exactly. Understand the product. Understand what it actually is. I 100% agree.
The worst marketing I've ever had done were by people who didn't have time. I'm sorry, Tim, I just don't have time to play the game. I'm overworked. I understood that, but it resulted in the worst marketing
Yep.
I've had for any of my games. The best marketing I've had were from people who played the game. And by the way, if you can't play the game, either because you literally can't, you're not very good at playing games, or you don't have time to, dive into a game for 20, 30, 40 hours and play the whole game, watch someone play it.
Yep.
Shouldn't be hard.
Look, and watching someone, I would say, is even to some extent different than playing it yourself, because then, it's the same reason why game designers, I recommend that you watch YouTube, you watch Twitch, you watch people playing the games. And Twitch, I think, is even better because you get those, or, YouTube live streams, because you get those immediate reactions. So when something funny happens, when something crazy happens, when a boss shows up, you can see how people react to this. What do they like? What do they not like? When do they say that, oh, this dialogue is pretty cringe? When do they say, oh, this dialogue is really, immersive, I love it? Those little moments can help you to pinpoint, okay, so when we're making a new trailer for this, let's focus on these things that seem to get a lot of reactions, positive reactions from, from like Twitch chat, right? They love when that boss comes in, so let's make sure that we show a couple of the bosses and their intro animation or whatever in this new trailer that we're putting out.
To find someone who's playing, walk down to QA and watch someone there play it. At the very minimum, ask for videos of playthroughs of different areas of the game with different kinds of characters. Like if it supports different builds, or if there's different endings or whatever, ask for videos and watch people play the game. So understand how the game is played before you even make a suggestion on how to market it.
That's a good one too, is that if you have different builds in your game, you might want to showcase different ways to play the game, in which case watching other people play can give you an idea, oh, you're playing this more like stealthy build. I didn't think of that. Let me, can you give me some footage so that I can include it in trailer? That way we can showcase the different ways to approach, combat or something, right?
Suggestion on how to market it. So that's my first suggestion. My second suggestion is to talk to the team. Now, a lot of people do talk to the directors. Usually there's one, like Outer Worlds had two, but not just them. Try to talk to other people on the game development team. Try to talk to some of the artists. Try to talk to some of the designers. Try to talk to one of the programmers. These are people who get the game. They work on it every single day. And do not forget, this is probably even more important than talking to the director, is talk to QA. The QA people play the game every day.
By the way, this is not only a good recommendation for marketing teams, it's a good recommendation for anybody in management. I've worked at I've heard of more stories, but I've worked at a place too that the management just didn't really talk to the average worker. Like it's just there was this massive gap in information. We drew it out one time. We drew this. I'm sorry, Tim. I'm going to draw on your face a bit, but a very hierarchical place looks like a pyramid, right? Where you have the management at the top. Sorry, you are not Illuminati, Tim. It's kind of. I'm sorry that I'm drawing over your face, but you have the management up here, right? You have like the top management, the CEO or whatever. Another CFO, whatever, CTO, who cares? A bunch of letters. And then up here you have middle, you have like the top management, like the heads and maybe the leads, you could say, are up here too, but heads and leads, people in charge of departments or in charge of different aspects of the team. And then you have all the workers down here, right? Different like seniors and then your regulars and then your juniors and stuff. And we noticed that there was a gap here in information flow between people at the top and then people down here, the average worker. And this caused a major problem. It's just like you could tell that the people up here just were out of touch. They were just completely blind to some of the super obvious things that you would see if you were working with a team. And it's like they didn't even care about trying to bridge that gap. They wanted to exist in their happy land up here, while everybody down here could actually see the reality of the war, of the battlefield. So I've never seen a marketing team talk to random people from the team. I agree with Tim. I wish it would happen. I would also wish that more management would get their heads out of their asses and talk to the people on the team, because really, like Tim says, these are the people that play the game every day. They see the game every day. They understand fundamentally some of the low-level challenges and problems facing the team that could gunk up the system. That's where I like to be, not up at the top. I like to be in the day-to-day. But yeah, not everybody does, unfortunately. And it can be pretty impactful to a team when you don't have management speaking to the workers.
They're trained to give feedback. So if you've played the game yourself, or at least watched some videos of people playing the game, and then you go to QA and you're talking to them about the game, you can ask them questions about stuff you saw. You can ask them
QA, by the way, people in quality assurance for games are some of my favorite people to talk to, because they are very blunt. They're very honest. If something is shit, they'll say, this is shit, I don't like it because of this, this, and this, and this. Way better. Management, they'll just, they'll beat around the bush. They'll try to glaze you up. They'll sweeten the deal a bit. QA won't do that. They will tell you exactly what you need to hear. That's why I like them a lot.
Questions about what it's like, what they take away from the game, what is most memorable, why they like the game, why they may not like the game. Remember, these people are trained to give good feedback, and they give feedback on the stuff they don't like either. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk to you about what they like and don't like about the game. That can give you an idea of what you should highlight in the ads. And if there's stuff that people aren't liking and it's not going to be removed, stuff you may want to work around in the ad. Or, showcases like, hey, we know you don't like encumbrance, but we got it. I don't know. Actually, maybe don't take that suggestion. I'm not a marketing person. But my third suggestion, this is going to sound dumb.
Okay.
But try to make an ad or trailer that people actually want to see, to the point where they will seek it out. The best ads and the best game trailers I've ever seen have people who they like watching it, and then they tell their friends about it. They watch it more than once. They tell their friends and watch it with them. They they go look to see if there's anything else online that they can watch about the game. Those are really good ads and game trailers.
I don't think that's a dumb recommendation. I mean, it's just try to like try to make it memorable, right? And memorable doesn't always mean, you know, double down on things that aren't key to the gameplay, but understand the gameplay and understand who you're marketing to. There's just a right and a wrong place to showcase your game sometimes. If I showcase Colden Chronicles to, let's say, Asmongold's community, right? Where most of the people that watch him probably aren't interested in playing Colden Chronicles. It's not their type of game. However, if I showed it to like Dan's Gaming or Co Carnage, right? People that are, really big into, these types of open world RPGs, these slightly more cozy games, longer form content, things like that, I would probably have a lot better chances of getting some conversion over to sales or to wish lists from that. So, know your place, know your time, I would say. And you might create different trailers for different places. Maybe if you know that if you're showing it to a group of people that are really into different types of combat, showcase a trailer that, or make a trailer that showcases the combat. Or if you're showing it to people who really like intense dialogue and deep RPG mechanics, make a trailer that shows those things. You could do the all-in-one, but why do the all-in-one when you can make different parts, right? And some games do that with their hype, right? In order to draw out the hype of their game, they will. I think Bethesda is actually really good at doing this. They will make multiple trailers that show off different systems in like deep dives, and they'll layer these throughout releases of over like 1 or 2 months before a new game comes out. That way, you have that slow drip feed of deep content, and then somebody can say, "Oh, I'm not interested in that part of the game, so I'll just skip that one." But the next trailer looks interesting to me. Sorry, I'm yapping.
But what I've told people in the past, marketing people, is if you have to trick someone into watching a trailer or force them to watch
Ooh,
it,
that's
if
bad.
like what you're doing is buying paid time
Mm-hmm.
on
You're just gonna
video
get. It's
channels,
negative. It's just
whether
gonna feel negative. It's a negative feeling. Nobody wants to be bombarded with an ad that they don't want in a time that they don't want. And now your thoughts aren't going to be positive towards that game. And he's also right where it's like, well, you don't want to trick people either, because tricking people will feel like deception, and they will feel like you're trying to sell the game with deceptive practices. Dislike. Not good. Not good at all.
it's YouTube or Hulu or whatever, where you're kind of forcing people to watch it who are trying to watch someone else, you've probably already failed. I know that
I agree.
when things like that happen, that's when I check my phone. That's when I go make a sandwich. I'm the one you're trying to market towards, but you're not giving it to me when I want it. I'm not seeking you out. You're forcing me to engage. You can't force engagement from me. I react negatively to that, and so
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think that there's. Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes you could argue that, okay, people watching the football game, or American football, whatever, European football, doesn't matter. Whatever football you watch, this is always usually the time where you see like ads for Call of Duty, because a lot of the people that watch these games are in the same demographic as people who watch Call of Duty or play Call of Duty. So, there is some overlap there, but he's right. It's like Hulu if you're just watching, I don't know, some documentary and now an ad for fucking Fortnite pops up. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to play you. I don't want to play you now. I want to watch my documentary. It's exactly know your time and place, like I said before. And this is not the time or place. A good time or place is like an awards show for games. People are there to watch things about games. They like to see new trailers and releases and announcements. That's the perfect place to shove your trailer in because people want it. They expect it. They don't mind it. They may not be interested in your game necessarily because, they may not be part of your market, but at least they're not going to go away with like a negative opinion that's because of the time and place being inappropriate.
I react negatively to that, and so do a lot of
Yep. Yep,
gamers.
yep, yep.
So just think about how to make people want to watch your trailer. Now, number 4 is going to sound similar, but it's a little different. Make it easy for gamers to find and watch the ads and trailers for this game.
Yes.
Put it on YouTube. Put it on your website. If it's on the website for the company making the game, please make it easy to find. I can't tell you the number of times I've known that a certain company is making a game and I go to their website and I can't find it. I go to the product page, I go to the game, and the links to the ads and trailers are not there.
Yep, he's right.
Please make that easy to find.
I mean, you see that too with a lot of ads for, sometimes I do see good ads for games and I'm like, oh, I want to, show that ad to somebody. You can't find it because they made it just for that, and it's not even on their YouTube, and it's like, okay, well, now it's just, it poof out of existence. It's just, have a good, like, YouTube that you can link to, or like, especially he said, make it easily accessible on your website. I have also seen that with a lot of games where, there'll be a new game announcement, some big RPG, and then you go to their website, and that trailer that they just released is nowhere to be found. And I understand that takes time, but, do it quickly, or even just release it a few minutes before you put it up. You have it shown on like just know that when you show off a game, you have sometimes one chance to make a good impression. Maybe this is the better way to word it. You've one chance. And if people try to find that trailer but can't again because you are going to be like, oh, I'm just going to upload it next weekend, right, or something, you might have already lost sales or interest because of that. So know that you have that time, that place, that slot. Make a count, simultaneous releases of trailers and information. Update your website at that same time, schedule it, whatever you need to do it. That's part of your marketing. And it's really crucial that you capitalize on the hype of the moment. Otherwise, it's gone. Poof. Bethesda, Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, that game's going to sell either way, let's be honest.
Work with whoever did the website and just make sure that there's a link to that game trailer. By the way, there used to be, and I couldn't find it, otherwise I would have put a link for it. Years ago, there was a really awesome website for ads, for commercial television ads. It was like an IMDb of advertisements.
That's cool.
You could browse by the product name. You could browse by product type. You could browse by the manufacturer of the product. You could browse by the advertising company that made the ad. You could even get a list of the actors who were in the ad and then look at other ads they did.
Pretty crazy.
And this was an awesome site because you could use it if you saw a really good ad, you could look it up. You could look at other ads made for that product, or you could look at other ads made by the advertising company that made it. And you may find out that, hey, it's the advertising company that made that a good ad, not the product. And also, sometimes you'd be curious about an actor you see in an ad, and you could look them up, and then you could see other ads they were in. It was brilliant. I mean, I went there.
It's like look up hot girls that are in ads. Oh, she's nice. What was she in?
Looking up ads. I miss that site. I wish there was a site like that. But let me go on. That was the fourth one. Let me go on to the fifth one. Please, marketing people, I beg you, do not wait until the last minute when you need certain materials from the dev team to ask. Now, I will agree, you cannot start marketing when development of the game begins because decisions are still being made. It may not be entirely sure what's going to get nailed down.
By the way, this is underrated. This is not even to marketing teams. I would say that this is also a good point for indie developers. Countless times I have seen Steam pages go up way too soon. I have seen marketing done. I've seen people pay money to market their game on like Twitter or YouTube or whatever way before it is even ready to show off. It's not only wasting money, it is wasting time. Your time is better spent making the game. It takes a lot of time to maintain, to update a Steam page, and to throw up some new screenshots just for people to wishlist, when most of the time, the amount of time that you spend to get 100 wish lists when you don't have anything realistic to show, you make those 100 wish lists just by working on your game more and letting the game speak for itself. You don't want to market too early. It's, again, you oftentimes only have that one moment to make a good first impression. And if your first impression is shit, people will just tune out. They have other games coming out. They have other games to play. They have a finite amount of money. And there's like 100 games that come out a week on Steam. You need to win them to your game. And you're going to do that with, a good product. So, I see Steam Next Fest demos go up, again, way too soon. Sorry, Tim. you go up way too soon, and then it's like you only have one chance to go to Steam Next Fest. A lot of indie developers don't know this. You have one chance per product to go to Steam Next Fest, and if you do it too soon, you can never go to Next Fest again with that game. Think about that. So, what would you rather go to Steam Next Fest with? An early alpha build, some like early or like pre-production build of your game, a prototype, or work really hard, make a good vertical slice, and then take that to Steam?
Change. But I will tell you this: by the time the game reaches vertical slice, you can get started on marketing campaigns. And if you don't know what I mean by vertical slice, one, you should. You're not a marketer. You're a game marketer.
Preach.
And two, I'll link a video below to all the different stages that games go through. And again, by the time it's reached vertical slice, it is ready for you to begin.
Yep.
And this is another reason why you should encourage, everybody should be encouraging, the game development team to make that vertical slice as early as possible. It's not any good for the team, it's not any good for the publisher, but it's good for the marketing people too, because you can see a level of the game that looks and plays exactly like the final game will. You can play that. You can look at videos of it, and you can start planning for your marketing campaign. You will get an idea of what characters are in the game, what the main characters are, what side characters are, what they look like, what the themes of the game is,
Preach, Tim.
what its color scheme is. I'm not the person to ask. If someone says, "Hey, what's your color scheme?" I'm gonna go, "I don't know." Go talk to the lead artist.
Yep.
Or you can go look at the vertical slice and you will see a perfect representative example of the game, complete with the color scheme of what the game is.
The vertical slice, I mean, I mentioned before, right? Like I say, no matter what, if our game is fun and we make a vertical slice, we can receive the rest of funding. I mean, really, because it's such a golden nugget. It's the holy grail of production, is having that. And the better that you make that vertical slice, the more time you spend, and there is, a fall off, right? Where you don't want to spend too much time, of course, but generally speaking, if you put the proper amount of time and effort into making a vertical slice, the rest of your production is honestly not too stressful, and it's very scheduled. It's known. It's metriced. That's a word. It's you can put it's quantitative, quantable, quantifiable. There's the word I was looking for. The rest of your production is quantifiable because you'll know exactly what needs to go in that game, exactly how to make it. You have that golden vertical slice to take a look back and say, "Oh no, we need to spend more time putting the this treasure room in because that's the standard of how the treasure room should work. So we need to make sure that has that standard throughout the game, that when people play this vertical slice demo level or the tutorial area or whatever, the White Orchard of Witcher 3, they can say, okay, well, the rest of the game should feel exactly like this, and then it does feel exactly like that. You don't want to be in the case where your vertical slice part of the game feels more complete than the rest of the game, then you've kind of failed production, right? So, yeah, 100% vertical slice is your golden ticket. It's the best thing that you can try to reach for. Thanks for sharing all this info. I'm glad I can help. So Fanny. Tim is the well of knowledge here, but I can double down and say I 100% agree. Your vertical slice, that's what you should try to aim for. It is your demo. It is what you can go to Kickstarter with. It is what you can go to Steam Next Fest with. It is what you can create trailers of. It's when you can start your marketing, everything, because you can't show the rest of the game, but you'll know that every single screenshot and video you take of your vertical slice is at least like 95% of the way towards being release quality. And I mean, you might just do some iterations on, texture resolution. Once you go through optimization and beta, right, up to release, there might be some changes. That's why you'll often see like the Ubisoft downgrade meme or the Witcher 3's E3 presentation looking different from the release version. It's because they have to do optimization after they make these, and sometimes they like to show off the really good looking, less optimized version of it because it makes for better trailers. But of course, then you have that issue with the whole downgrade calls, right? A lot of games go through this. It's unfortunate the way it is, but sometimes you just can't anticipate the optimization that will be needed to make future bigger levels run well. That might then have that detrimental impact to earlier on in your product and potentially your vertical slice level. It sucks, but it isn't always preventable.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, as constructively as possible, do not ask for all of it the week you need it. If you're trying to put an ad together, whether it's a print ad
It
or a
takes the team
trailer,
time to get some of
please
this
don't
stuff.
wait until you're actually putting it together to ask for all these
Yeah, and
things.
it's like you might need, if you're asking for materials for a promotional trailer, you might need the lead artist time, you might need the lead programmer's time, you might need them to script like a cinematic or something that was new. And, if you ask for that the week before it's due, the team is already in a sprint and they would have to cancel things cancel the sprint and then remake a new one to fit with these new needs for the marketing team. So, no, it would be in my opinion, very unprofessional for a marketing team to put those kinds of constraints on the development team.
Ask for them in advance. And as soon as the vertical slice is done, you can start asking for these things. And then the sixth one is kind of related, but when I started saying about asking for things, go ahead and ask questions. I beg you to ask questions of the development team. And you can do that throughout. You can occasionally be proactive and sit in on some of the team meetings, or sit in on a design meeting, or sit in on a strike team meeting just to hear what it is they're making. Because I can tell you this, I get really upset if I think you're having me do your job. And the number one example of that is if you ask me what the game's demographic is, you're asking me to do your job. I don't know. I don't know what the demographics are.
If the marketing team is asking you, "Hey, what are your game's demographics?" Excuse me? That's why I hired you, is to do this. Don't ask me. You're supposed to be running the competition analysis. You're supposed to be, dealing with the metrics of the promotional material and figuring out exactly where and who we need to market to. I can give you the expectations, but the expectations might differ from reality. You might say that, I might say that my game Cauldron Chronicles probably is going to mostly appeal to 18 to 35-year-olds. I work with a publisher, their marketing team says, actually, based on our research, it appeals to people of 25 to 40 or something. It's like, okay, well, you're the experts here, so that's your job. That's what you're supposed to be working on. I can only give you the baseline of what I expect, but I could be wrong because my job is not marketing.
Period. You should be able to look at the game and know what the demographic is. That's your job. If you ask me what the game's hook is, that's a good question. Yep. But when you ask, you better know what other games' hooks are in this genre.
Hooks, pillars, whatever.
Don't ask me, if you ask me what's unique, and I say, oh, it's really reactive in the dialogue, and we've got like 20 endings. You should know that 20 different endings is unusual, and that most other games don't have 20.
That's true. That's a very good point, yes. I think that, like game designers, I think marketing teams should be very knowledgeable about not only games of that are competing with the product that they're trying to market, but just games in general. And they should. It's the same with game designers, but with marketing, is that you should know exactly what's going on, what's new, what's fresh, what are the newest places to advertise, what are the memes or cultural things that you might be able to capitalize on, right? Some of those don't age well, but honestly, with a lot of marketing, it's not about whether or not you make a trailer that stands the test of time, but whether or not you make a trailer that works in that moment, right? Because you have your 1 week, 2 weeks of fame on YouTube at most, or maybe even less than that, and then it's gone. And then people will look at the trailer, but you're not going to convert a whole lot of people over from super old trailers. They likely already know about your game.
Other endings. But there are a few other games out there that have a lot of endings. You should know all that already.
Yeah.
It's your job.
He's right.
I always stress this to game marketers. You're a game marketer. You're not just a marketer. Don't make me do your job. So, I hope that marketing folks have found this to be very constructive. I know I sound a little forced, but let me just tell you, I've worked with some really bad marketing people. Like people that I've been so stressed out by that other people asked me if they should be fired. So that's never happened in my career where someone saw me come out of a meeting and just went, that person should be fired. It's only happened with marketing.
I haven't been there, but I have worked with some bad marketing people.
Suggestions I have, I think you can do a really good job at marketing, and you can come up with making a really good set of ads and trailers that people will actually want to watch. So I hope that helped.
Yeah. Great video from Tim as usual. I think those were a lot of points that I hadn't really thought about too deeply, so that was very nice. I really enjoyed that. Let's give that a like, and if you guys want to give that a like and watch yourself, here is the link. Fantastic video from Tim. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching that one. Game marketing is, of course, a very challenging aspect of your game. Don't do it too early, and if you're going to do it, know that sometimes the moment you put your game in front of people, that is the only time that they will ever see your game. So make that first impression count. Show the best side of you and your game that you can. Those would be my recommendations to developers. So thank you for watching that one on YouTube, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye, YouTube.